Hello, everyone. This is Kevin with vNacelle, and today we're talking with Elizabeth, the CEO of vNacelle, and Jimmy, the Director of Operations. Today we're talking about the TRD process and how it helps businesses with transitions. Elizabeth, what can you tell us about the TRD process?
It's a process that we've used for the past 15 years to help business owners design a roadmap that can be anywhere from a year to 10 or 15 years on how they want to transition through and ultimately out of their business, and how they will organize and have great adventures while they're doing it.
Elizabeth, I've heard you say before that people should think of their transition as an adventure and have it not be just an event, but a journey. Can you explain more about that?
When you think about transition in your head, usually you think about it as an event. So it's actually, the event's going to happen, I'm going to leave my business, and I'm going to totally transition out. We like to think of transition as a journey and not an event, because there are a lot of things that are fun to do, and there are also a lot of things that are valuable to do in order to walk down the road towards that transition or ultimate exit. So we call it a transition roadmap because it's designed so that you can have the journey, so that other people can help you with that journey, and they can actually engage with you.
So as I understand it, in the transition process, an owner or owners will be leaving and someone will be taking over. Is this transition really considered a succession?
It's funny, people use transition and succession almost interchangeably, and transition is completely different by definition than succession. You actually have to have both in order to successfully continue something. So we want the person who's transitioning is actually changing state and giving up something, moving to something else. The person who's a successor is actually engaging and taking on the role. And for them to be able to engage and take on the role, one, they need to know what it is. And then two, they have to emotionally want to do it, right? We need them to want to do it. So the transition roadmap is really wonderful because it's a journey, not an event. We can walk through the journey. We can do it with people who are interested and want to take on roles and tasks and other responsibilities that are required in order to keep the business healthy into the future.
What are the key differences between what vNacelle provides in the transition roadmap developer and what a company would get, say, going to an attorney or an accountant?
Well, one of the things I think that is a big difference is we actually recommend, and through our process, we put people first. What I found is that the transaction part is actually the easy part. The people part is actually the tough part. Answering questions like, who should be in charge of the business? How will I be fair to my people? How will I be fair to my partners? How will I be fair to my children, depending on what kind of a transition you're thinking about? So how do we balance all that? And how do I make sure people are whole?
Do you have any recent TRD experiences you can tell us about that relate to this?
I had a conversation yesterday with a business owner, and it was really interesting because he's got 3 kids, all of the age that could come into the business, 2 of which are really interested in coming into the business. So how do we do that? How are we fair to the one that doesn't come in? How are we fair to the 2 that do want to come in? Do they both get to come in at the same time? All of those are questions that he was asking. But the really interesting thing that we talked about was how the business for that family has been the vehicle for them to live the life that they live and to do the wonderful things that they get to do together. And just because their kids are late 20s, early 30s, why does the business not get to do that going forward? All you have to do is design it. So we talked about helping the one that doesn't come into the business. Maybe the business can help her do what she wants to do in her life because she's really not interested, and then also help the others. So how does the business continue forward? And we put people first, but we have to know what is it they want so that we can help them build and grow and develop into the life that they choose.
So, Jimmy, you've been listening along patiently, and I'm wondering if you could tell us, in your experience with the Transition Roadmap Developer, what is it that inspires people or makes them say, wow?
It's a good question, Kevin. I think that the thing that captivates people's interest is what Elizabeth was just talking about in terms of it focusing on people. The impact of looking at what an owner and maybe the senior leadership or the family's objectives are in business and in life is just so instrumental in helping people figure out the direction that they really want to go and really freeing them up to make the decisions that intuitively they might know that they want to make, but they don't have the courage or they don't have the framework or they haven't been able to think outside the box enough to be able to make it. So I think that's the key. And just as an experiential story, I really experienced the TRD with the business that I was a partner in, and having the opportunity to talk with Elizabeth and help us figure out what it was the three partners really wanted, which for us, it ultimately resulted in a successful third-party sale. But it gave us the ability to look at the individual shareholders' objectives versus trying just to look at a solution first, and that was really critical.
So if someone was interested in talking to you more about the Transition Roadmap Developer, what would they do to get in touch and get the process started?
All they need to do is go to our website and give us a call. They can email. And how you get started with this is first just to have an initial 3/3 meeting with us, where the first third is about you and your situations. The second portion of that is a little bit about us, so that we can tell you a little bit about our history and you can get to know us. And then the third part is steps forward. So in concept, this is what we think might be good, and we all are in agreement, and then we do whatever that is. In the moving forward, it could be we don't have anything to do because it's not a good fit and not what you need right now. It could be that you're ready to actually engage and do a transition roadmap for yourself. That's how you would talk with us. And that 3/3 meeting that we do with you is at no charge. In our minds, we do that so that we can help to find the people who would value this at the highest level. We really want it to be of value for you to go through the process if you choose to do it. And it's important for us because when we work with just one owner, we touch many, many, many lives and really can do good things for them. Encourage you to, if you're interested, reach out, schedule that 3/3 meeting, because it's really no risk to you. And I think you'll learn a lot just by talking to us in that hour.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, let's close things out with the brand promise of vNacelle, which is people, process, and performance. Elizabeth, how does people, process, and performance relate to the TRD?
We put people first in the TRD, so it's all about the people. You need people in order to continue the business forward. You need people in order to continue with the business growing. Process, it's a wonderful process. It is very time effective and time efficient, and it gives you that clarity so that you can have increased performance over the years. Confusion and lack of doing something, lack of engagement, creates lack of performance or lower performance. So with this, you're confident, you're walking through that roadmap, you know when you run into roadblocks and you can do something about it. And so it enhances the performance all the way around within the company and is nice for the people and the family.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I would like to thank Elizabeth and Jimmy for joining us to talk about the Transition Roadmap Developer process.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. Have a great week.
To find out more about the Transition Roadmap Developer and the other programs provided by vNacelle, please be sure to check us out on the web at vNacelle.com. That's vNacelle.com. Thank you all for joining us, and have a wonderful day.